Today we have something that's a little bit different. When I say a little bit different, it's because it's about half of the average size of the vehicles that I talked to about, right? So as you guys can see behind me, I have two wheels. Several two wheels, I have three here. So today's episode is one of the coolest one, just to be honest, because I really like motorcycles and I have some of the coolest motorcycles behind me, and I'm gonna talk about not just those three, but a couple other really cool motorcycles out there on drag racing and road racing. You know, like he's not a normal people, he's crazy. I came back not long ago from Brazil and something really cool just happened in Brazil. I went there for the very first race of the Speed Cup. It's a beautiful facility, Speed, right? That's the track in São Paulo. And one of the things that happened is they start the championship on drag bikes. So drag racing with motorcycles in Brazil, it's going uphill like crazy. And one of my friends and customer, Murilo Gomes, showed up with a brand new motorcycle of his, a Gen 3 Busa, made for drag racing, with still a round tire and no bars. And guess what? We installed the FT700 at the track. Everything worked, was amazing, and guess what? We got the national record for that kind of type of bike the same weekend. That thing ran flawless, was beautiful every lap. I think we went like a 460 something to the 8 mile. Turbocharged, stretched, round tire, no wheelie bars, FT700 doing everything. So I'm gonna show to you guys some of the stuff that happened over there, and then I'm gonna jump back on this and talk a little bit about this Busa and these other two here in this corner. Man, that's one of the fastest bikes in Brazil. That's crazy. It's a friend of mine, Paraná. That thing is crazy. So the other dude is doing the burnout right there. Come with me, come with me. I want to show you guys how this guy run from the back. This thing pop wheelies through the 8 mile. So we're gonna record from the back. You're gonna see he popping wheelies all the way down the track. It's fast as hell. So just stay put and watch this. I think he missed a gear. I don't think that's good, but like, man, this is really cool. So I think it's one of the coolest cars. Drag bike, it's something, because the guy that rides on a bike, it is a little cuckoo, so it's really cool. We're gonna see one of my buddies there runs one really fast as well with FT700. Let me show it to you guys just a few. Man, did you guys see this? That guy is nuts. So he's having some trouble with the bike. The bike is trying to steer to the right side, so he went all the way to the left. I just tried to make sure that he was still in the groove, because he was almost outside the prep, right? And he still went like a 480 flat, almost changing lanes. Something happened by the end of the run. I think the bike vibrated a little. Pretty much, a little is not a little, little is a bunch. And something broke off, you could see it. So I'm curious when he comes back, but like, man, you need to have some balls to drive that kind of thing. And he's a little mad, you know, like he's not a normal people, he's crazy. So after Speed Cup, that was the first time of this beautiful third gen Hayabusa. we came here to Villa Park. My buddy came here to race at my facility. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then qualifying's over, right? Or pretty much over. I'm not really sure because like we're still running, but I don't know if we're gonna have time to do another qualifying. Tomorrow morning, we kind of defense about it's gonna happen or not, the last qualifier, because the weather forecast may be looking like to rainy. But like, I believe he's pretty well qualified right now. The last run was a 4.8 flat. It was a sketchier run, right? So it's a sketchier run. So they now trying to understand there's maybe something wrong with the bike, so we're gonna work on this. But we're in Brazil, right? So I'm gonna talk to him in Portuguese so you guys can listen how Portuguese sounds. I'm gonna put some subtitles, right? And then we talk about the biking first time in São Paulo and the second time here in Rio Grande do Sul. E aí, meu bruxo?
Como é que tá?
Nos deu um susto ali, né?
Cara, é a primeira vez que foi tão forte assim, né?
Cara, assim, ó, eu vou te dizer, é legal que assim, pra quem tá de fora é difícil de entender, mas tu botou a câmera bem no guidão, né? Então a gente vai mostrar o videozinho para os caras verem como é que é. A moto ela foi rápida, não foi tão rápida quanto deveria, mas ela continua se movendo para a direita, então tem alguma coisa errada nela, tá tentando descobrir. Sim. Mas ainda assim ela virou um 4.8 travado, né? Foi
4.800 duro.
É. E só que daí ela nem fez uma passagem completa direita.
Ainda
né?
não.
E deu uma chimada violenta,
assustadora,
né? Conta pra nós, porque assim, ó, eu sou piloto de carro, tá? Eu sou entusiasta de moto, mas sou piloto de carro. Como é que tu mantém a calma e como é que tu guia esse negócio num momento assim foda desse, velho?
Cara, vou ser bem sincero, assim, tudo que eu fiz ali foi tudo no instinto, foi tudo no reflexo. Porque se eu tivesse que parar pra interpretar o que estava acontecendo ali, para ter uma atitude naquele momento, não ia dar tempo. Nossa. Então tudo que aconteceu ali foi tudo no instinto. Algumas passadas que eu dei antes dessa, que deram pequenas chimadas igual a de ontem,
mas não tô que nem essa, né?
me prepararam para essa. Porque se do nada tivesse feito isso e eu não tivesse passado por o que aconteceu ontem e o que aconteceu hoje também na passada anterior, talvez eu tivesse soltado as mãos do guidão.
Tá te dando uma experiência então, bichinho.
Cara, porque foi assim, dessa maneira como chimou, foi bem...
Né? Que velocidade que passou?
Cara, 218 por hora.
Então tava 218 km por hora, mais ou menos, né? Aproximadamente. Deu uma chimada, cara, absurda. Assim, do lado ruim do animal, né? Não é uma coisa legal, né?
Cruzou a pista, eu tive a sorte também...
Pô, chegou perto do muro, né?
Perto do muro. Eu tive a sorte do cara que tava na pista do lado. No fim, como a chimada foi muito bruta, eu tirei a mão e ele chegou e passou. Porque se por um acaso eu tivesse cruzado a pista antes dele ter me passado, com certeza ele teria batido na traseira.
Era um acidente feio. Incomum, um acidente de moto, né?
Muito
tipo
incomum.
Assim, eu tava de trás ali no alinhamento, né? Tentei te dar uma mão ali na hora de alinhar, e quando tu largou, ele veio indo pra direita e daí deu pra ver que ela pegou aquela tendência, começou a sacudir, até voou um negócio, né?
Sim, voou a parte de baixo do chassi
traseiro. Então ela quebrou uma parte de baixo, sim, porque assim,
soltou a elétrica.
É super leve, né? Então, isso aqui é fibra de carbono, né? Então, outra das coisas é de alumínio, deu uma quebradinha no suporte aqui.
Você vai ter que dar um remendinho na mão.
Agora, remendinho, cara, é coisa de veículo de corrida, né?
Sim.
E tentar entender o que é. Tu acha que tem alguma coisa na frente, tem alguma coisa atrás, né? Tu vai revisar tudo agora.
O que tá intrigando a gente é essa maneira como a moto tá puxando para a direita e eu acho que isso tá refletindo lá em cima.
Entendi,
a hora que põe potência de verdade, a hora que a moto tenta levantar a roda dianteira, ela vem de lado. E a hora que ela põe a roda dianteira no chão, a de trás está desalinhada com a dianteira. E aí a moto, a tendência é uma roda sempre direcionar atrás da outra, né? Então ela faz assim, ela levanta e pum, levanta e pum.
E daí não pega.
E aí não pega mais. Só que foi impressionante a maneira como a ressonância começou e não parou. Ela não parou. Né? Depois da bandeirada ali, depois dos 201 metros, ela foi chacoalhando assim por mais...
Tu acha que foi que distância meio chacoalhando?
Cara, eu acho que foi mais uns 150 metros fácil. Fácil. Foi interminável. Pra mim, vocês vão ver o vídeo aí, parece que foi rápido, aí 2, 3 segundos. Mas lembra que uma moto dessa, 200 km por hora, ela tá uns 40 metros por segundo. Então se durou 3 segundos, ficou uns 120 metros batendo guidão, 150 metros.
Tá louco, né? Vamos ver se a gente acha esse negócio, né?
Agora
tem um tempinho, né? Amanhã também tem tempo. De novo, a gente falou classificado bem, né? Então acho que assim, agora a prioridade é descobrir o que eu vou com o chassi pra poder ir pra eliminatória com o troço voltando a andar em linha reta.
Acho que a gente classificou mesmo com essa loucura toda, tirando a mão antes, a gente classificou acho que o segundo ou terceiro melhor tempo. A moto que tem o melhor tempo de 4,695 virou 4,800 duro. A gente virou um décimo só,
ver, né?
praticamente acima do que a gente virou.
Que não tá fácil, né? Então, tipo assim, é a primeira etapa do campeonato, tá?
Exato.
O clima tá muito bom.
Muito bom.
Mas tem bastante sol. Então a pista não tá na condição ideal. O ar tá bom, mas a pista não tá. Agora começou a melhorar, né? Começou a melhorar, que era pra de noite, melhorou, né? Mas assim, aqui a gente tá correndo uma pista mista, é radial e slick. Então ela não é nem o ideal para radial, nem o ideal para slick, ela tá no que meio termo, né? Então Eu acho que a moto tá andando bem, dá pra ver que no grupo de motos. Quantas motos tem aqui?
Cara, deve ter hoje umas 15 motos.
Olha só,
15 motos.
Das 15 motos, ela tá no upper half, né? Na parte de cima.
E ainda não demos uma passada inteira. Eu não dei nenhuma passada inteira, zero, nenhuma.
E agora eu quero saber, eu vou fazer uma pergunta aqui, ó. Pegadinha agora, assim, ó. Sabe que a gente tem aqui um negócio pra acontecer, né? Entre tu e o Paraná.
Um lado a lado.
Entre tu e o Paraná. Como é que o Paraná tá na classificatória?
Cara, o Paraná, ele virou 4.700 e alguma coisa. Ele provavelmente classificou em primeiro.
Tá.
E eu classifiquei em segundo. Só que o detalhe é o seguinte, a moto dele tá indo assim, ó, parece que ele tá no sofá e a minha parece que eu tô no Touro Bandido. Lembra do Touro Bandido?
Galera, vocês veem o vídeo aí, porque eu botei o vídeo da passagem, eu consegui gravar por trás. Cara, é animal olhando ali por trás. Tu vê o Paraná, daí tu vê ele inteiro, daí tu não vê ele, daí tu vê ele inteiro. Ela vem erguendo.
Eu acho o seguinte, ó, esse vídeo vai sair depois da corrida. Se não acontecer isso, a gente corta essa parte. Mas se essa moto der uma largada, essa moto der uma largada do jeito que tem que largar e eu conseguir ficar de mão na bomba, ele não vai sair na foto comigo lá no fim.
Só, tu viu, ó. Depois eu vou ter que ir lá falar com o Paraná também pra ver esse negocinho, pra ver se... Tomara, ó, eu tô na torcida porque pela competição. Tomara que você se peche em algum momento.
Sim, não, vai ser
um lado a lado.
Não, o espetáculo vai ser animal.
Vai ser legal.
Eu quero estar na minha melhor condição e ele na melhor condição dele e vamos ver o que a gente vai conseguir fazer aí.
Então tá, ó meu velho, boa sorte, tá?
Tamo junto.
Se precisar de alguma coisa, me chama.
Fechou, vou precisar mais algumas vezes ainda.
Então tá aí, ó, amanhã tem mais, né?
Fechou, amanhã cedinho também.
Amanhã a gente acompanha ele de novo.
Obrigado.
So we're getting close to this whole odyssey, right? So road racing bikes, street bikes, and now this drag bike. So my buddy here did a great job. It was really cool, man. Like I love to see all your passion coming to fruition, where you not just put this together for some time, envision what you wanted, and you put it together, but you also went to the first race, did well. There's not many people there, but you lowered the record for this on the South America side. Then you came to my track and you kept that momentum, right? It wasn't easy. The track wasn't behaving as well. Now they need to take this whole thing apart and check why. But he was able still to qualify number one, go all the way to the finals and win, as he actually lowered his personal best. So right now, he's gonna be on the championship lead for the Field Tech Cup, right? FTBR Sport Championship here for drag racing at Velo Park. And there's 5 more races, but he got like a great head start. And I was already talking to him like, man, you're going 4.6, right? This kind of bike in the United States, they run low for seconds. So like, this is my request to him. We need to get really close to that. So I made him a challenge. Till the end of the year, we need to go at least 4.4. That's the challenge. So my buddy here is still learning English. So he's gonna talk Portuguese. Me and him are gonna put some subtitles for you guys so you guys can follow up. And we're gonna have a little conversation. Yeah. Então, maninho, é o seguinte, ó. Já sabe, a luta não terminou, tá? Agora eu vou te botar nessa responsa. Tu tem que entrar no mínimo no 4.4 até o fim do ano. Então tem 5 etapas, ó.
5 etapas.
Tem 5 etapas aqui, mais as de São Paulo.
Sim, vamos dizer que a gente está numa guerra, nós vencemos só a primeira etapa.
Mais ou menos isso.
Só a primeira batalha.
Ó,
a guerra a gente só vai ver quem vai vencer no fim do
Tu
ano.
viu que tem uma galera que
forte.
Pedreira, né? Pedreira.
Adversários à altura.
É, na categoria drag bike eles baixaram o tempo. Baixaram o tempo.
O recorde tava ali com eles, a gente beliscou, a gente chegou a bater o recorde deles agora, mas eles tomaram de
Olha só, não tá fácil. E na final, eu não tinha visto isso ao vivo ainda. Sim. O mesmo tempo combinado, né? De pista mais reação. Um foi melhor na pista, o outro foi melhor na reação, no milésimo da igual. Aqui no Brasil, a gente tá medindo só as 3 casas decimais, não tem a quarta. E o critério de desempate era a reação, não a velocidade. Então, nesse caso, ele levou a melhor. Então, ganhou a primeira, o Simas ficou em segundo, mas seguinte, o Simas é o recordista. E eu aposto que ele e o grupo dele Paraná não vai tirar o pé. Então tu já sabe, na próxima é pedreira.
Na próxima é pedreira. Então assim, da mesma maneira como eles me incentivaram a baixar os tempos até hoje, porque eles eram a referência, à medida que a gente vem melhorando nossos resultados, a gente também incentiva eles a melhorar os resultados, né? Então assim, um adversário bom, um adversário à altura é o que eu preciso hoje para elevar o nível da moto e para assumir aquele compromisso que nós combinamos agora, que é pôr essa moto ainda esse ano na casa dos 4x4, né?
Então tá, qual é o teu plano?
Cara, o meu plano é o seguinte, primeiro, atualizar a moto, fazer uma revisão completa na moto, porque essa moto, ela passou por vários problemas esse fim de semana, é um projeto novo, é só a segunda corrida da moto, então essa moto, ela tem assim, exatamente 15 passadas do absoluto zero, da moto reconstruída inteira, né, construída inteira, para virar praticamente o recorde nacional, o recorde sul-americano de velocidade de tempo na categoria sem o Libar. Então assim, eu tenho que fazer algumas alterações na moto, que são a turbina, a gente vai trocar esse turbo por um turbo Precision, um turbo que a gente usa aqui que é um turbo nacional, um turbo simples, a gente vai colocar um turbo de competição, é um patrocinador novo que nós temos lá dos Estados Unidos agora, que é a Precision. A gente tem uma embreagem que vai passar por algumas atualizações também, que também vem de um patrocinador americano, que é a MTC, e uma balança traseira, que é a balança da DME. Isso aqui não vai ser atualizado, mas é uma das coisas que a gente vai ter que entender para resolver aquele problema da moto puxar, que persistiu durante todo o fim de semana e que limitou os resultados, porque a moto a gente não conseguia fazer andar reta.
Não fez uma retinha.
Então, de 200 metros, 201 metros possíveis, né, 1/8 de milha possível que a gente tinha, a gente percorreu, acho que 1/8 ponto alguma coisa, porque a gente fazia uma parábola na pista, né? Então, a gente tem uma estratégia agora de chegar das competições, fazer uma desmontagem completa da moto, entender os problemas, se atualizar para na próxima corrida voltar mais forte e mais rápido.
Então tá, cara, assim ó, parabéns.
Obrigado.
Parabéns e boa sorte, não vai ser fácil.
Não vai ser fácil.
Tu sabe, mas eu sei que tu não desiste fácil.
Mas
então...
eu vou te dizer, se é fácil, não é legal. Então, quanto mais difícil, mais me motiva e é o que vai trazer o resultado no fim do ano e aquela sensação de dever cumprido, é ter adversário à altura, é a dificuldade, é criar na gente a necessidade e de se adaptar rápido, que eu acho que é isso que um piloto de arrancada precisa.
Perfeito. So guys, this is one of the multiple faces of FieldTech, right? So we do a lot of drag racing with cars. Like I personally drive Pro Mods and RVW and Pro 75 and LDR, you name it. I love it, right? High horsepower cars. But I also like motorcycles, as you guys can see. So Murilo is a great friend of mine. I like motorcycles. I can see myself in the future with a bike similar to this, not necessarily this kind of bike, but like similar to this on drag racing. I may ride a friend of ours the next race. I'm not really sure. We need to see how the schedule goes. But like FieldTech matches really well with cars and motorcycles, right? So after going through this, I guarantee we're gonna go and show you guys more. You know, all the development that I show you guys about road racing, I'm gonna show more in the future. I'm gonna show more drag racing on motorcycles, and maybe start going towards other stuff like water sports. So like, stay tuned and check it out, because like not long from now, we're gonna do some of this cool stuff about drag racing and jet skis. Okay, so man, that was amazing, that was crazy. And guess what? Some days from now, I'm traveling back to Brazil, to my track now, to the FieldTech Motorsports Park. Murilo is gonna be there, so we're gonna keep digging on that record. We're gonna try to keep going low. But before I do that, I'm gonna go over this beautiful Hayabusa. I don't know if you guys know, but I love Suzuki's. There's another one here. And I like Hayabusas. I had the Gen 1. This is my Gen 2, right? And this is like a show bike. I don't even have plates on it. I don't race it. This is just a bike that I like to prove the concept of using FieldTech on motorcycles, right? So this is a Gen 2. And actually I have a street Gen 3 that I like to drive around. Beautiful black motorcycle. I love the bike as well. I took to the track a couple times. Lots of fun. So this Gen 2 is like an entry-level drag racing motorcycle. It is slightly stretched. It has a drag tire on the back, but it's a regular Gen 2. The motor doesn't have much to do, but this is cool. So this is a little different, okay? This is a little different. I am a drag racer. My heart is on road racing, but there's another thing that moves me. Motorcycles at circuit track, right? So I have two beautiful examples here, and I want to explain to you guys, not everyone is into motorcycles, and I'm gonna tell you there's a lot of people that know way more than me about motorcycles and motorcycles on road racing. So I have great friends that are actually professional drivers. I have a lot of takes from them all the time. I like for them to tell me what I'm doing wrong or right. But I think this is a good moment to talk to you guys about some stuff that we have here that is fairly unique. So as you guys know, I went to AMP, Atlanta Motorsports Park, then Road Atlanta, right? Those two tracks are amazing, and they are around 1 hour from Fueltech USA. So it's really easy for us to put these babies on a trailer, go there, and spend the whole day having fun. To something a little bit different, and just so you guys guessing, it has a lot of Fueltech involvement on this one, but not like we used to talk about it. So today we are at Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta is one of the coolest tracks in the face of the planet, and we're lucky because it's about 1 hour from Fueltech USA. So what we were doing here, we did a quick track day, like it's a day where the track's open, everyone can come. They have some separation in between experience, not speed, experience. And we did the first one this year at AMP, Atlanta Motorsports Park. Another amazing facility close to Fueltech USA, another about 1 hour. So we actually are really blessed because we just don't have drag racing around us. We also have road racing. So behind me, we have 3 beautiful motorcycles. So the one in the middle is mine. It's an Aprilia RS-V4 factory. Then on the right, we have a Suzuki 750, a Gixxer 750. This belongs to Vinicius. You guys know Vinicius, right? And then that one, Arcondo, our guy from FT Education, he just bought that one. So he's actually new to motorcycles. And why are we here? We are here because motorcycles, and mostly that kind of style, is the closest thing you can have to the higher level competition. So a motorcycle like that one that I just have in the middle, it is actually the baseline for the higher end classes, right? So we have Superbike, we have Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP. That bike is close to a MotoGP than any vehicle you can get to a Formula One. So that vehicle right there has similar foundation as the Aprilia MotoGP bike that right now is leading the championship. It's been amazing. They won the first 3 races and the last 2 races of the previous championship. And it obviously is not the same bike. Don't get me wrong, guys. It's not the same bike, but the concept is the same. It is a V4 engine. It's 1100 cc's. MotoGP has to be 1000. Has some aerodynamics. You guys can see there is a front wing, rear wing. And one of the things that I had this bike here, and that's why I bought this bike late last year, that bike has a shit ton of electronics. Pardon my French. But it has so many electronics, aids to the driver, because this thing has over 200 horsepower. It's about 220 horses to the crankshaft. It's amazing, it's impressive. It has a lot of torque, it's 1100 cc's. It has a lot of horsepower, it revs 14,000 RPM. So this motorcycle, with the power that it has, the torque that it has, how light it is, the aero package that it has, with the electronics, it's the perfect test bed for us to understand how road racing works with the added lean angle, pitch angle that a motorcycle has above a regular race car. But it's a really good test bench for Fueltech products. So today, there's a lot of secrecy going on. I can't tell you guys much, but I can show how this goes, right? How a track day happens, why I have two of my best guys here, and why we're riding these motorcycles. 600, 636, a 700, actually a 750, and 1,000, actually 1,100, right? So we have different classes of bikes with different riders coming up with different experience. Okay, they call Bravo Group. So Bravo Group is Vinicius. Vinicius is gonna go up in just a second. So we will be testing the bikes, having a lot of feedback. Some of the stuff, I'm sorry, I can't share with you guys yet, but some of the stuff I can. So we're gonna be seeing a lot of stuff really cool, not just about engine management, but power and chassis management and road racing. Okay, so we kind of halfway through the day. We had a really good session. The place that we are, it's not a race, right? So like, let's say we're racing, right? So the place that we're racing, Road Atlanta, as I told you guys, Precision Track Day is the name of the promoting, right? So great people, great people. So I just spoke with them about like how it works, about changing groups. I want to know the whole process, right? As you guys know, we just purchased a racetrack in Brazil. So we want to bring some of how you guys do here in the United States to Brazil, right? There's a lot of experience going on here. So like we were doing this, one of the reasons the experience, so we can bring it back to Brazil and make, you know, like the car scene better. It doesn't matter if it's a motorcycle or a car or a truck or a Jeep, whatever. So I spoke with them. Kevin wanted to organize, like, okay, talk to one of my coaches and he's gonna do some evaluation. So like the last session was actually really cool. I got one of the coaches, great dude. And we did like a follow and then swap, and then he followed me. So if I follow him first, so he could see if I can keep up with him. And then after a couple of laps, you're like, okay, come by, pass me by, and then show what you got. But like, again, this is not about being the fastest out there. It's about knowing how to behave at the racetrack. Great way to evaluate people and try to bring them up into the groups, right? So there's the D group, there's the C group, and now I was bumped to the B group, right? So there's one group above, that's the A group, people more experienced, professional riders that come here to have fun, you know, people that do this for, you know, years. So we go to the B group, just like Vinicius. Vinicius have, I believe, 8 or 9 track days now on his lap, you know, his belt. And now I'm going to his group, so we can actually be together and learn more about how we ride together as well. So I'm gonna tell some stuff for you guys, right? So this is not the kind of episode that's gonna stop here. There's a lot of stuff that's gonna go actually at Brazilian racetrack, Velo Park, Fueltech Motorsports Park. But this bike is actually pretty cool. It has a built-in lap timer system from Aprilia. And then I added from another Italian company, APR, a GPS, 50 hertz GPS that works with the bike. And not just being that, I have another device on the top of my fuel tank right there, right? And I can carry a couple more in my pocket. So I'm doing a lot of research. My guys are running some devices with them as well. You can see one lap timer right there on Eduardo's Kawasaki, right? So we are making sure that we are doing a fuel tank is up to the task, but actually better, right? As you guys know, Fueltech Vision, right? Fueltech Vision has track mapping, but as today, the only unit that we have is the FT700. FT700 is a large unit. It's a 12.3 inches or 7 inches. It's not every bike that will fit. So we are working on some new stuff that fits bikes. That part I cannot tell you guys, but this is part of why we're here. Trying to understand where our development is going and making sure that when you guys get it, it's top notch. So we are comparing a lot of other products. making a field research over here, having lots of fun, right? And personally, I like to drive everything that has motors, engines, you name it, right? So wheels, wings, you know, I don't know, fixed wing, movable wing, I don't care. We have maybe 2 more sessions. We're gonna learn a lot, and then after that, we're gonna go into computers and softwares and try to analyze, you know, how everyone rides, because we have different levels of knowledge. I have Vinicius here, the most experienced one on a bike on a racetrack. I'm the middle guy with the most powerful bike, and then we have Eduardo that just started on this deal. We want to compare and make sure that when we do this, it's easy to understand no matter how good you are. Okay, in between everything that we're doing here, I want to show you guys some tricky stuff, okay? Some stuff that we can show to you guys.
Why is tricky?
Yeah, because it's tricky, okay? So I convinced my boy here because like he knows a lot about a lot of stuff, and he always loved motorcycles. So like, man, get one, okay? Because we need to develop some stuff for motorcycles. Get one, and he went to work, okay? So it's a beautiful Kawasaki, you know, green, how it should be.
Very green.
A ZX6R. So this is actually 636 cc's, right? And the first thing that he did to this thing is the auto blip, okay? This does not have electronic throttle body.
No, it's cable.
It does not have a Fueltech ECU, it's OEM ECU, but he wanted to understand the dynamics of it. So behind the seat, let me take the seat. So under the seat, right? We have, actually, this is a discontinued product. This is a Fueltech gear controller, okay? So this is for gear change, okay? Management for flat shifting, okay? So listen
Originally intended to do a quick shift.
Quick shift.
What the bikes would be.
Uphill.
Up.
So
Yeah,
upshift,
doing upshift.
flat shifting.
Yes.
So he adapted the purpose of this product on purpose, okay, to try to understand what it is. We got this unit from our old inventory. We have some old stuff sometimes because it was really simple, really easy. We know how this thing works, and he added a solenoid back here. You guys gonna see some footage later. He added a solenoid and a cable that goes to the throttle body.
Into the OEM throttle body.
On the OEM throttle body,
Yeah.
and it does the blip, so he doesn't have to do the blip on downshifts. Okay,
So you will be able even to see. Look here. Take a close look here. When I turn on the bike, it does a self test. It actually does a blip. So every time that I turn on, you can see what actually the blip is doing. Or the bike had originally a quick shifter, so you don't have upshift, so you can just flat throttle and just bang the shift, and it goes power shifting. But not for downshift. For downshift, you will have to do rev matching or using the clutch. I didn't want to do that. It's my very first bike ever, and I bought a 636 because of him. So I wanted to have a little easier driving. So it has originally the upshift. Now I added the downshift automatically, so I can just bang the gears up and down and up. The stock electronics does the ignition cut to allow the upshift, and the downshift, the gear controller does for downshifting. I added a small strain gauge on the shift lever here that actually detects on which direction I'm shifting, and that triggers what originally would be the ignition cut signal for the ECU. Then now I'm using that for a solenoid actuator.
The actuator.
Yeah. So it was a little tricky to kind of try to understand how much time I need to pull the throttle and how much, you know, but actually came out pretty good. It's actually the second event that I have it. This came out pretty good.
This is something really cool to see because, like, guys, we're not like Marco Bezzecchi, you know, we're not Valentino, we're not Mark Marx, we're not those guys, okay? We like motorcycles, we're here to have fun. I think motorcycles are dangerous as hell, okay? They're really dangerous.
You should respect them, yeah.
Right? So you need to respect this thing. Like, you are in a high power, low weight, high speed vehicle, right? With no cage, no seat belt. Like, if you go down, you are the fender.
Yeah.
Right? So
Pretty much.
this is the deal. Like, I love motorcycles, don't get me wrong. But like, I'm pretty conscious how dangerous they are, okay? And this is talking for someone that rides a Aprilia RSV4 or a Suzuki Hayabusa. Like, that's the two bikes that I have. But like, this is the deal. they're dangerous, right? And we are not pros. We're not pro drivers on this deal. So Fuel Tech's a cool approach that try to make stuff easier. Let me say something like, don't be offended. Dumb down, okay? And we are the dumb here.
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
so we want to make sure that as we understand how this works, we actually can translate on a way that more people can use it. Because if you could buy something from Fuel Tech that would allow your ZX6 to have better electronic management like that bike there, right, for a fraction of the cost. How much you pay for this bike, bud?
I think it's like 11,500, 12,000.
So like that's a $12,000. That's a 30,000 bike, right? It's almost 3 times the price.
Yeah.
If we can, with a small amount, add some or most of the features from that bike on this one, man, that's game changing, right? So this is one of the reasons we're doing this thing.
And that's the idea in the future. Do a plug and play option maybe for this. I don't know if I would do it obviously by myself, a one of a kind maybe. And we'll see if maybe later on we can try to have it available to everybody. But at least this is the way that normally we play with new stuff.
Okay. You have fun?
Yes, very.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
actually my second track day. And
Second track day for this guy. I don't know how many I did, okay? Vinny did more, right?
Yeah,
Vinny's
Vinny.
right there. So we're gonna do more, okay? This is the second one of the year. We did AMP first.
Yes.
Now we're here at Roll Atlanta. Oh, Vinny's already putting everything back together. Good job, bud. And we don't know where we're going, but this is cool. August, we're going to COTA, right? Circuit of the Americas on Texas, right? And I'm gonna have some cool people coming from Brazil to race with us. And honestly, there's some drivers coming. They're gonna be able to teach them some shit. You know,
Nice.
we need some lessons.
We
right?
need it.
We need some
Yeah.
lessons. That was pretty cool. Hey, you happy, bud?
what? I'm very happy.
Okay, so we're gonna back to the drawing board, see what we learned today, see what we did today, and see how we can actually do some, secret stuff. So at some point, you guys are gonna see.
Jack.
I just want to explain some stuff of why we have this bike, why we have this bike, okay? So let me start with this oldie but goodie, okay? This is a Suzuki GSR 750. So 750 cc's, less than a liter, it's 3/4 of a liter. Inline 4-cylinder. My buddy that runs RMA and warrant department here at Fuel Tech USA, Vinicius, he owns this bike and he loves motorcycles as well. So this bike, he rides all around, and he also tracks the bike. And you can see, this is the bike that right now it is on track mode. No mirrors, right? Like a handwritten number on the headlight, right? A sticker that says Bravo, right? Tires, with like chicken strips all the way to the corner here. Like, let me try to go over a couple things. When you're doing a track day deal, you actually are not racing. Track days are open days at the track for fun, okay? So you need to be cautious, you need to be respectful, right? It is a dangerous sport, so you need to be careful. You need to have all your equipment. I cannot go there like this. You need to have boots, you have helmet, a full suit. You need to have it. You don't have it, you cannot even go there. But the bike has to be prepped properly. So stuff that may be glass, like a headlight, right? Or stuff that can be pushing something that takes your attention out of you, have to be taped out. And that's why he has this blue tape here. The blue tape is to protect the environment that he's in it, the other riders. So people don't pay attention to his headlight, because usually motorcycles you cannot turn it off. And if, God forbid, he goes down, there is no glass shredded, at the racetrack. So this is one of the things that you do. Is stuff that may be loose on the bike, you need to tape it. You need to actually make it solid. So if you see on the back, the passenger foot pegs or zip tie, this is actually a rule. You need to make stuff that may be moving away to be stuck so it doesn't move away, right? Everything that's on the bike right now is only what you need to be able to go and do some, laps around the track. His mirrors, he removed it because if he hadn't removed the mirror will have to be taped as well, the mirror itself, because it's a glass piece. And also, it sometimes goes on the way, because when you're riding a motorcycle, I'm going to jump in really quick. When you're riding a motorcycle on the racetrack, you don't stay on the bike. You actually move on the bike, away from the bike, and the mirror may be in front of you, right? So the mirrors are useless. Motorcycle racing does not use mirrors. Tail lights are the same way. If you guys take a look, tail lights are taped. So this bike is actually a pretty street 750 with the very minimum requirements to be able to go on a track day. So we did with Precision Track Days the last couple ones, AMP and Road Atlanta. Was awesome, great people to deal with. They do a awesome environment. And they have this sticker as a classification, your group. So people know how skilled you are, and they separate those groups. So at that sanction body, let me call, they have 4 classes distinctive. So D, C, B, and A. So the D is the people never been on the track pretty much, right? C, people that been to the track sometimes, but they're not really confident yet. They getting knowledge, they don't run as fast. And don't get me wrong, fast is not about speed. Fast is the pace, how quick you go around the track. You can have a 300cc bike and be fast, or you can have 1,000 and be slow. Then we have the group B, where my buddy is. Group B is the guy that has some experience, but he's not like a pro racer, or he's not a guy that goes all the time to the track. So this is what they call some people intermediate, right? And then after the B is going to be the A, alpha group, or the experienced rider. He's not there, I'm not there, right? But we on the upper class, let me say, but not here or there. So 750 Suzuki, pretty much a street bike. You can have lots of fun. Not expensive bike. It's a lightweight bike. To be honest, it's more like 1,000cc than a 600. It's fast. This bike's fast. And it has a couple things I would like to highlight. Tires. This is what they call the Pirelli Super Corsa. It's pretty much like, it's not like a track day tire, but it's almost like a track tire. It is sticky. It's highly important to have a sticky tire, highly important. You only have 2 tires, not 4. And you all the time going sideways where you're pushing the tire sideways. You're not pushing the tire like this. You tilt the bike, right? So the tire has to be soft. These tires are a multi-compound. The center, they're harder, so you can ride in a straight line without wearing them much. And they get really soft on the sidewalls. Kind of sidewalls, on the side of the tire. So when you lean the bike, you get a tire that's more grippy. And when you go straight, the tire is harder, so it lasts longer. So it is still a street tire, but I can tell you, these tires, and I don't want to do advertising just because, really good tires, guys, like really good tires. If you want to go fast on a street-ish bike or something on a track day, you don't have to go full slicks. You can use those Pirelli Super Corsas. You won't regret. They are amazing tires, right? And because on road racing, you use lots of brake, there's 2 things that you can't see easily, but this bike has. Better brake line. So the brake line on this thing, it's a semi-rigid brake line, let me say. It's not the regular rubber line that goes to your calipers and stuff. It is updated brake lines because they can keep the pressure better once the temperature goes up, because the brake's gonna go hot the caliper goes hot, the fluid goes hot. And if the fluid gets hot on that rubber lines, average bikes have rubber lines like this one have from factory, they get and they expand. So pour the pressure that you put here, go to the line, and then the lever goes down and you lose brake, right? Brake fluid, same thing. Change your fluids, put some race fluids if you want to go, you know, track day around. So this is his puppy, beautiful bike, running like a scalded dog, I'm gonna tell you that. I think on the back straight of Road Atlanta, this bike will do about 155, almost 160 miles per hour every lap. So it's pretty powerful, pretty fast. This unit has a FT700. So we put a 700 this motorcycle to also prove the concept that like motorcycles can also use larger displays. As you guys saw, Murilo Gomes run the FT700 Plus on his bike, and the whole dash is completely the front end of the motorcycle behind the windshield. It's awesome, you know, for the driver, for people that are assisting the driver outside. You have a lot of information before the run. During the run, to be honest, there's not much you're gonna be looking at on drag racing. You're gonna be looking where you're going, right? But this unit is pretty cool. It's kind of OEM power-wise deal, but it has our colors, you know, it's a good bike. Then it has FT700 and a Nano Pro. Why did we do a Nano Pro, right? So remember, the 700 has built-in O2 conditioner, but the Nano Pro is like a secondary dash and a secondary or a primary switch panel. So we can add buttons on the Nano Pro and add whatever gauge that we want, that I always want to be seeing, that maybe I don't have all the time on the FT700. So we did this on this, not because you need, but it's like, you want more stuff to be able to do? Yeah, let's do that. Some people on race cars, they put the Nano Pro in different spots. So if this bike will be run by someone that it needs assistance outside for something else, activate something, the Nano Pro could be placed somewhere else. So whoever is helping the driver can be taking a look, I don't know, oil pressure, fuel pressure, nitrous bottle pressure if it's a nitrous bike or something. So the Nano Pro is on the dash right now, but it could be anywhere on this bike to assist whoever on the team is with this bike going down the track. And behind here, my puppy, right? So this is my new bike. As you guys heard what I said about this one, I have a Gen 3 Busa here in the United States as well, and I just bought this thing. This thing, it's a little different, I'm gonna tell you guys. I was a little skeptical when I purchased this thing because it's on the higher end of pricing. So take to the racetrack something like this. This is not crazy faster than that, but it has a lot of perks. Let me show some of the perks. I can tell you guys something, like I like Suzuki's like that one. I have another one. I have two actually, a Gen 2 and a Gen 3 Busa. But I have a lot of respect for several brands, right? So we have Ducati, we have MV Agusta, Honda, you can't forget that, Yamaha, you know, there's so many cool motorcycles out there, KTM. And this year, Aprilia, it's on the top dog side of things. They are number one on MotoGP right now. We have two great riders with a beautiful motorcycle that's hauling ass. They just raced in Brazil, that's kind of cool, right? They just raced in Brazil, Goiânia, and Aprilia won first and second spot. Then they went to the United States over here, Circuit of the Americas, guess what? Aprilia won again, number one and number two. So Bezzecchi and Martin, the Martinator and the Bass, right? Those two guys are amazing riders, but besides being amazing riders, they have an amazing machine. And this thing right here is one of the closest things that you can have to a MotoGP motorcycle that's still attainable, right? So this is the Aprilia RSV4 Factory. So it's what people call a super bike. This is a 1100 cc's V4, so it's not in line, and it's not V8, it's V, but only 4 cylinders. This thing is made in Italy, 6-speed, and it has lots of parts from a MotoGP motorcycle. It's not the same part, it's the same concept, right? So the motorcycle has some of the stuff that they've been doing for the last 5 years or so that got them to where they are right now. The aerodynamic package is useful. It's not just because it's pretty and it's cool. The bike has several details. Front spoiler, this is actually aftermarket, but it has like a specific air duct to the front brakes. The tire spoiler, the side spoilers, and it has a rear spoiler. Everything on this bike, it's here for a reason. And I'm not saying this is a MotoGP bike, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm just saying this. You know Formula One cars? You cannot buy a vehicle that gets close to a Formula One car. It's impossible. It does not exist. It wouldn't be allowed to be sold. Even when you see, oh, there's some hypercars out there. Yeah, I get it. They're not close to Formula One. I'm sorry. Maybe one of them or something. This thing, you can go to the dealership, purchase this thing. There's several out there. And this thing is not that far from a MotoGP motorcycle. So a MotoGP motorcycle has about 300 horsepower. This thing has 220. So this is only 80 behind. Guess what? That's how they come from factory with small modifications. As you can see, I already have like an exhaust, titanium exhaust from Levins. And if you do headers, if you change your trumpets, you put some race gas, this bike can go to over 250, 260 horsepower. That's pretty close to MotoGP, right? MotoGP also has lots of carbon fiber. It has expensive materials. So this motorcycle right now, it's less than $30,000. They do have a version, limited edition, right? That is closer to the MotoGP itself, but it's not something that you can buy everywhere. That's about $100,000. It's still a bargain if you talk about the highest level of racing on two wheels. Because MotoGP motorcycles, they're not for sale. You cannot buy one, right? But you can buy one that's almost like a race replica for about $100,000. Ducati has a similar one for about $150,000, right? There is no almost Formula One cars for even $500,000. They're not there. A hypercar sometimes over at $1 million and is nowhere near a Formula One. So this is the cool thing about motorcycles and this in particular. So this Aprilia, okay, has some cool stuff, right? Let me go over some of them. As you guys saw, right, huge brakes from Brembo, way larger than average. They have a different design inside how they work. Suspension is from Öhlins, right? So that suspension, it's active, okay? So front struts, the rear shock, and steering damper. So for the people that don't know, motorcycles have a steering damper and they just don't have a steering damper. It is really important to have a steering damper. When you give power to a motorcycle, they're so short, they try to wheelie. They take their wheel off from the ground. When that happens, their wheel, the chance of their wheel coming back down exactly straight and exactly in the center is bare none. So every single small angle, side to side, left to right, will make the steering, as soon as it comes down, to move and then try to go straight. So they wobble, right? So that wobble can literally make you fall right away. So the steering has a shock, right, that allows to change. This motorcycle not just have that, it is electronic. So the bike can in real time adjust itself to the conditions, making bound and rebound on front, on the forks, and the back, up and down as it needs. The shock absorber on the steering damper, can also change in real time. So it can be kind of loose, so you can steer quickly, and as soon as it detects a weird movement, shock velocity, it tightens up really fast so that thing kind of stays flat and goes back straight. So this is one of the things that this bike has and is really cool. So it's not proprietary for Aprilias, okay? But it's not normal to see this. So aero package, right? Electronic damper shocks, front struts, the back, the damper, everything's electronic and it works as it should, right? The unit has something that's it's kind of fairly normal for super bikes. flat shifting, right? Up and down. So by the lever that I have here on the side, that by the way, this is not OEM, this is a Woodcraft deal. This bike has what they call a GP shift. The pattern is backwards, okay? So now, once you put in gear, to go up in gear from first to second, I go down. So when I wanna leave, I move up, that's first. When I wanna put second gear, I go down. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. When I wanna go backwards, then I do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why? When you're riding a bike like this and you're trying to go really fast, sometimes you are leaning to the left really aggressive. You are not going to downshift when you're really aggressive and leaning. You may need to upshift. So you don't have room to put your foot under the peg because the bike is so lean into the ground. What you need to do is foot up, press down, and you can upshift. So this is something that's really useful. If you go to any kind of track and you're gonna lean this thing, you have to change. So this bike comes from factory regular shifting, and then this bike, this particular bike, my bike, I made this change and put a GP shift style. Interesting, some bikes you can change without changing adding parts, like that one. That one you can flip some stuff, it becomes GP shift. This one as well, Suzuki's you can do that. So this bike Vinicius have is also GP shift pattern, right? So this is something that we have right here. Something really cool, not every bike has, and this one have. I like drag racing, right guys? So guess what? We play with suspension all the time, right? 4 links, leather bars. This thing is actually really cool and is really close to a leather bar setup. So guess what? The pivot point on the center of the chassis is adjustable, just like a drag racing car. So right now I have my swing arm tilted up, right? So when I give power, it tries to lift the back from this angle, right? So it doesn't lift the front of the bike, it lifts the whole bike. So the bike actually goes up on the back, then the load tries to go down and she almost floats in the air. If I change this is adjustable, and I move this pivot point down, the bike will try to do the regular wheelie where it squats and wheelies. If I move this thing up, it will be even harder to wheelie because it's gonna try to lift the bike even more from the center, okay? So this adjustment you should do if you have better or worse tires, and if you're gonna be racing on cold tracks, wet tracks, or really warm tracks. So if I am on a warm track with really good tires, I move the swing arm up, and that allows me to apply more power without wheeling. But if I try to do that on a cold day, you will actually spin the tire, right? So this is a really cool adjustment. Most of the bikes don't have this, and this is something that you play when you know where you're going, like a winter session, rainy days, cold day, or a warm day with nice slicks on the back. So right now, I'm still running the OEM tires. This bike came with the same tires that we add to this bike. That's the Pirelli Super Corsa. But like I'm about to swap this guy right here, it's gonna go straight with slicks, right? So this bike's gonna receive some slicks and gonna go back to the track. So we spoke a little bit about the engine. I can't show you guys much besides what it is. It's a V4, 1100 cc's, revs, 14,000 plus RPM, has a ton of torque, awesome bike to deal with, and details on the electronics. The electronics on this bike are really, really, really interesting, right? The way that you manipulate power is actually attached to the torque delivery. So that makes the bike easier to handle. Older school bikes, they don't have that, right? They're not supposed to be that way. They don't have as much power, this thing. But this, with this amount of power, is fairly easy to ride, believe it or not, right? So this bike with the electronic package has a power, torque management, no matter how you want to say, right? It's how this thing moves forward based on my throttle input. It's easy, it's smooth. So the rider can go fast, can be slow, but easy to manipulate. It has a built-in GPS. The antenna is right here on the back, right? And this GPS feeds the unit with a lap timer. This bike has OEM lap timer. That lap timer knows where you are. So when I went to Road Atlanta, I would turn the power on again. Road Atlanta detected. So she knows that I'm there. And when I go by the finish line, lap timer straight up work on the OEM dash, gives me my best time, my splits, and even have a list of what I've been doing, right? So, but cool things, I got with another Italian company, and I have an aftermarket GPS unit that's also here on the wing, that also shows on the dash, pretty cool, but I can connect on my phone on Wi-Fi. So this is some of the cool stuff that we do with this kind of bike, and you try to understand, you know, how motorcycles work, because I'm gonna tell you this, there is a lot of motorcycles running, fuel tech, on the drag strip, United States, Brazil, right? But this is the next thing going on. So you guys gonna see a lot of new content here about motorcycles. Ain't gonna be tomorrow, okay? Don't rush it. But like, it's gonna be pretty soon, where we're gonna make this bike here and even that one even better. And that process, not right now, it's kind of secret, okay? We're gonna show to you guys so you guys can replicate, and maybe we can bring some of the cool stuff that we do on drag racing, how easy we do in drag racing, for also the guy that wants to go on a track day, or maybe the guy that wants road race a motorcycle.